The Super Media Bros podcast is a founding member of the OddPods Media Network.
Super Media Bros.
You know, in today's world of instant gratification, a movie getting a sequel literally a year later, like out of nowhere, would be a big fucking deal. But I think that's a detriment to its quality.
Detriment to the quality and also probably the box office because, like, there's no way that enough hype was building.
Welcome to episode 272 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Richie.
I'm Devin.
And we're back to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles II. The Secret of the Ooze, you know?
Yeah, as a kid, I thought this was peak. I thought this one was the best of the bunch.
It's crazy because I know a lot of people that watch this one above the other two, like out of the trilogy, and it's kind of weird because I get it and I don't. And I think it's because I'm older and I was there when the first, well, I mean, obviously I was there when these all released, but I was in the thick of it whenever the first one came out at like the height of the turtle craze, if you will. And we're following up from last week's episode covering the 1990 original. So if you haven't heard that one, go check that one out and then come back and check this one out. Before we get into the movie, I do want to kick this off saying we're going to sprinkle some factoids about this motherfucker in as we converse over it. But I want to tell you that, and this is for anybody that listened to last week's episode, I found the actual inflation adjustment for the first one.
Thank God. Okay.
All right. So I think this was as of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because the movie currently sits at a 6.7 on IMDb.
Okay.
Weirdly, like the original. It's got
so weird.
It's got a 40% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh, that's expected. It's
got a cinema score of an A.
Yeah.
Now, the movie grossed $201 million, like $965,000 at the box office, but adjusted for inflation, that sits at around $402.3 million.
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Because what did you say last week? 292?
It should have been around like I think if I remember right, I guess it should have been around like 5 or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, by today's standards, it still did great. It's the 20th highest grossing independent film still, like as of now.
Well, look at it like this. We're talking about a movie that dropped this year, and it's still in theaters, but not for very much longer. John Wick has not even crossed 400, but it's considered a massive success because, for one, look at what the budget was compared to revenue.
Sure.
And number two is, with each movie, the trajectory of its profits are going up.
Yeah.
So I think we look at it from the perspective of, this is what peak Marvel, this is what peak Star Wars, this is what peak whatever the fuck does. And we don't look at, but what is a realistic goal for a successful film?
Yeah, and I mean, for this movie, you would think, okay, so the first movie, it was a budget of $13.5 million, and it grossed 202.
Yeah, that's like, dude.
Yeah, but look at this movie, the fact that a $25 million budget, it didn't even make $80 million at the box office. Like, it was okay. Like, it definitely broke even and then, like, made some of its shit back, but you could tell the diminishing box office return was a sure sign. It's like, okay, are we going to get a third one? Because they didn't even know they were going to have a third one when this one was getting made. If you think about how quick the turnaround was, the movie came out almost exactly a year later by 8 days less in 1991. I mean, the first movie came out on March 30th, 1990, and this one came out March 22nd, 1991. And man, look, I know quite a few people personally that are going to shit on this movie, and they still shit on this movie, and it's okay to shit on this movie. It's not the best Turtles movie. It's better than the third one, I feel like, but
Yeah.
the third one still had some charm to it for certain things, but I really feel like this sequel it's like you either really love it or you fucking hate it. There's almost no in between.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a Turtles movie, and it's colorful. There's more lighthearted shit to it, but that's what killed this movie, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what kind of made me go, okay.
And that's not really what killed it for me, honestly. What killed it for me was the fact that this movie, The Secret of the Ooze, where was the crescendo for this? Like, this was the most like standalone direct sequel ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, it's a direct sequel, but okay.
Yeah, there was, I mean, I feel like anything outside of Shredder was not direct. Like, Shredder was the only bridge that connected this movie to the first one. Otherwise, it could have been a one shot. And I only bring up Shredder because of how he came into the movie was directly tied into the first one.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's like, yeah, you could have fooled me.
Right, because the movie opens on an entire like fun sounding, song, like overviewing a bunch of people eating pizza in New York City, and you get introduced to Kino, who we'll sprinkle some shit like throughout this film of like why certain characters were in the movie and all this other stuff like that.
I will say this though, the color grading in this one was far superior. I think like, yeah, it's more lighthearted, but the color grading matched that, but it made for a very like pleasing to look at movie. The budget definitely felt much larger, which it was, but I'm just saying, you could tell that the quality was there. Also, just the opening sequence, that was childhood. I love the first, 10 minutes?
Like the warehouse fight and all that shit?
Yeah, from the opening of everybody eating pizza to that.
Sure, that's kind of capturing the 87 cartoon spirit, if you will.
Yeah, and it just, I don't know, call it nostalgia, but every time I watch it, I just I get a little in the feels.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be in your feels after I tell you some shit about this movie as we go forward. I promise you. So,
are you going to ruin this?
Yes, I am. I'm going to fucking ruin this. I'm going to ruin this for a lot of fucking people, all right?
Okay.
All right,
I'm ready to hurt.
Yeah, you should be, because I've had to hurt for 30 years. So, the opening warehouse fight is fun in a lot of ways. It's probably one of the most memorable things about this movie, and it's because they got their weapons taken away.
Yeah, nah, that I am aware of, and I do think it's really, really silly. But also it's like, okay, well, they tried their best to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah, and that was a huge compromise, like having to take their weapons away, because so many parents were pissed off about the violence in the first movie, and it's just kind of like, well,
what did you think the cartoon was?
Cartoon wasn't fucking this bad though. Like, that's the thing, that the foot were robots, so it was okay to like fuck them up. But the problem that parents had was like kids were reenacting the moves and shit on other kids, like beating the shit out of other people, and
it's
like
not the movie's fault. That's you as a parent for not teaching them.
Exactly.
Like, that's like whenever the first Transformers movie came out in 2007, and my grandmother brought me to see it. She fell asleep during the previews. Guys, I want y'all to know that I could have been kidnapped a billion times in my childhood because my grandmother was legitimately deaf, and she still drives me over the goddamn bridge to bring me to the movies and then falls asleep because she can't hear anything. So I could have been taken away many, 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 many times. I say she's deaf. She's just extremely hard of hearing. Still couldn't drive, but she chose to. Anyway, she woke up midway through the final fight scene and she was like, "This is violent." It's like, what the fuck did you think the cartoon was? It's them fighting.
Yeah, but the Transformers movie did have like a more high stakes kind of like dramatic violent feel because it's Michael Bay and he's like, well, we're gonna
yeah, but I'm just saying
who also got his hands on the turtles at one point and just
yes.
Okay.
I'm just stating a fact of like whenever parents are like, this is too violent for my kids, it's like, yeah, it's definitely a more mature version of the cartoons.
But is it though?
It is, but it isn't, because it's like, okay, but if you literally took the same scenes from the cartoon and recreated it in live action, it would be equally as violent. It's just the fact that your brain is making the connection of, oh, this is real.
Right. I mean, that whole fucking warehouse fight, there's like cartoon, like, doink, you know, like sound effects and fucking when Donatello poses like that rocking clown doll and fucking pokes a dude in the goddamn chest. That's fucking hilarious, honestly.
Oh yeah, like that's a great fucking moment.
Like Michelangelo using linked sausages for nunchucks, yelling combat cold cuts, which is what it was a great fucking line. Like I'm trying to put all the positives on Front Street before I rip this fucker to shreds.
We're doing it mullet style.
Yeah, it's a business up front, party in the back, but I feel like we're getting the party out front first.
Yeah.
Like it's like a reverse mullet, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like a skullet, you know what I'm saying?
This is gonna hurt me. God, all right.
So I want to point out some fucked up shit about some of the things we noticed, like whenever, and these are still positive because it's funny.
Okay.
So like when the boys, I'm gonna call the turtles, I'm gonna say because the boys when they come back, you know, from this very successful, we kicked these fuckers' asses and we're gonna hijack the pizza, and you know. I brought this up when we were watching this. Like, where does the money come from that they get to pay for this shit? I really want to know that. Like, I do feel like it's kind of like the Sam and Dean Winchester supernatural way of like they just kind of rip off whoever they fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because the boys would max out credit cards and they would just rob whoever like they killed and shit for their fucking money. It's like, think about it though, like that kind of makes the turtles thieves if they do it. It's like if they're like, oh, we're gonna beat these criminals up and take their money, bro. Where do you think the criminals got the fucking money from? Like they probably, you know what I'm saying?
They're teenagers. Leave them alone.
I'm not. It's fucking funny. Like, cause you know Splinter has probably had many a time where he's just like, idiots.
Where did you get that Supreme hoodie?
I'm telling you, man. This is directly leading into something we joked about, how when they go to the apartment, because they're staying with April O'Neil by now, because the Foot Clan like found out where they lived underneath, you know, the sewers, and they can't go back or whatever. So they've been living in April's apartment. So they come back from this mission, and they're talking about like all the pizza and all this other shit. And then Raphael is talking about how Shredder did a swan dive with a half gainer into the back of a garbage truck, and he's being a shit, like leaning out the window. And then fucking Splinter, Raphael, come away from there. It's like, geez, like what the? He's like, never forget who you are. And he fucking is like leaning back in there, coming down the stairs, and I'm thinking, man, for all the money that they probably rip off to pay for all this fucking pizza. You know, because I know they've probably lifted the pizza, but it gets ordered. It's made, you know, known that they order it and it comes to this apartment. You know, I would think maybe April orders it for the guys, but knowing that they left money for this fucking pizza, if this is truly where they're getting the money from, because think about when they lived in the sewer, they didn't have anybody supplying the money for them, so they probably still do it the same way. All this pizza is getting purchased, but they can't buy Splinter a new fucking like robe to hang out in. Like this motherfucker's got that shit like patched up and shit. And you would think they would do something nice for him.
I'm telling you, they did. They probably robbed somebody of a fucking silky ass robe, like fucking Gucci, Louis Vuitton, fucking Versace, something. Brought it to him. Where did you get this? Bring it back to whoever you stole it from. Oh, we didn't steal it. Yes, you did. You do not like.
10 flips now.
I'm telling you, dude. It probably fucking happened.
Too rich for my blood.
Oh,
you know, like just some shit like that. But dude, it makes me laugh. And that there's a line in that exact same instance. They come back, you know, around to the apartment, and it's after April does this news report on TGRI, which is TCRI in the comics, and it stands for Technoglobal Research Industries in this movie. TCRI most notably is the pseudo origin of the Ooze from the comics or whatever. And we know that it is an alien race in the comics. Like it is an alien sourced mutagen. Here's where I'm pissed off about this fucking movie, okay? The Secret of the Ooze. It's like, all right, cool. So many things were set in place to eventually lead to a third film to bring on like the Utron alien race that inspired Krang in the cartoons. We don't get that because of the fast turnaround that New Line Cinema was very used to, because they cranked out 7 Nightmare on Elm Street movies in like, I'm sorry, 6. In like 7 years, they cranked out 6 of those fuckers. I'll have you know this. The original concept for this was going to be Baxter Stockman and the Mousers, because Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird wanted to expand on characters from the comics, but they were in a fight with the studio and Playmates, the people that made the fucking action figures. They were like, no, we want this in here. So they're like, okay, well, we'll bring the Shredder back, I guess, because make him a focal point. But they wanted Baxter Stockman. Baxter Stockman got turned into fucking Jordan Perry, head of TGRI in this movie. He dressed exactly like Baxter Stockman. So that's another like thing that he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be Baxter, but they're like, let's hire fucking David Warner, who played Ed Dillinger in Tron, to be this guy. All right, fucking cool, whatever. And they fucking simplified the Ooze to just being some kind of fucking lab created shit instead of the actual alien source from the comics. And in the movie, in the script, Jordan Perry was supposed to reveal himself as a fucking roboticized mech being operated by an Utron, an alien. But the producers were like, no, the kids will think that this is Krang, and it's not Krang. So they just didn't fucking do it. And they completely got rid of the entire alien subplot that would have catapulted a very different third film forward. Bebop and Rocksteady weren't used because, again, Laird and Eastman wanted to stay away from all the hokey shit from the 80s cartoon, you know, because they wanted more shit from their, you know, comics. And again, the studio was like, no, we want these fucking characters in there because the target is 3 to 10-year-old kids. And they were just kind of like, this is what brought us to the dance in the theater in the first place. So they compromised and they were like, well, we can create characters like them because, unfortunately, Bebop and Rocksteady are not in the comics. They were created specifically for the cartoon. Mm-hmm. So there's a ton of licensing issues already with that. So Toka and Razar, or Razar, however he gets pronounced, because it's both fucking ways. So Toka and Razar were created by Henson's Creature Shop, and this is all because David Wise and Fred Wolf, who worked on the cartoon, David Wise was the writer and Fred Wolf was an animator producer, was just like, put more mutants in the series. It's like, all right. And here's another fun fact before we get into the rest of the film. Toka and Razor were not even comic book canon until 2021.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they made 1 episode appearance in season 7 of the 87 cartoon series. 1.
Okay.
And just to let you know, I'm not done yet, but I'm done for now.
Mm-hmm.
So going on with, you know, this fuck all new boring ass plot. April has interviewed Jordan Perry and they are covering up all this toxic waste spill shit that's happening. And one of the scientists is like, oh, these dandelions are fucking huge. These giant ass flowers, dude. It's like, you know something's up. Like they're hiding this shit. And going back to the second go around with Splinter, after the interview happens, you know, she's like, where's Splinter? And Leonhard was just like, oh, he's been on the roof ever since he saw your report. And this line just cracks me up because if they would have just left it like this, I'd have died. Well, he's been on the roof ever since he saw your report. Oh, really? Doing what? Coming.
No.
To a decision. Like if they'd have just left it. Oh, gross. Like he just like watched April. He's like, you'll get my special robe.
God damn it.
His fucking smoker's jacket and shit. You know that motherfucker's got like a smoker's jacket.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's a rat, dude. He's fucking nasty with it, man.
He's like a fucking like Hugh Hefner rat.
Oh, yeah, dude. Hey, you know what? Any man that's going to walk around with his robe undone like that, that man is fucking packing a hog, dude.
It's not a rat tail.
Bruh, that thing is thangin'.
What if that's his dick? It's just supposed to be a rat tail, but like, what if that's his dick?
You know what? I'd like to shake his little paw. That's a fucking god.
Oh, God.
Do you remember
damn it.
that Ninja Turtle eraser that we used to sell at the dollar store? And
Oh, my God.
they all had dicks.
Yes.
I know it wasn't supposed to be, but it...
Like the way the tails like went or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. Yeah.
Because it was exactly where the cock and balls would be. And it was shaped as such, too. I truly do believe that the manufacturer did that as a joke. There is no goddamn way otherwise.
Their little Jim and Henson's just hanging out everywhere. Their little creature shops just dangling in the wind. I had to.
Ugh.
That was the one saving grace about this film, is that the Henson's creature shop was back in effect. Because by the third movie's standards, that was not it.
And again, maybe it was the color grading, but I felt like maybe their eyes were popping more. They looked more like...
They weren't the same suit designs.
I figured, but I wasn't entirely sure. They looked a lot more friendly in this one.
They were less wet. They were less like dark. They were less dark green. They were better lit, and they were just not wet. You know, like think about that. They had like a shine to them in the first one. They looked more like amphibian in the first one, you know,
which is why I do think the first one is better, but also
because they were wet.
Well, no, but just a little details.
I know, just fuck with you. It's funny,
but it's just like I don't know. I felt that the first one was a Saturday morning cartoon for 90 minutes, come to life and all that stuff. I'd like to retract that statement. It's the second one. The second one is a Saturday morning cartoon brought to life.
For sure.
So if somebody hears that and they go, I don't like that, you're not going to like this. If that sounds good to you, then you probably will like it.
I think there were a lot of noticeable pieces of this movie where it was like, okay, we're sorely missing certain people and certain plots and other kind of shit.
Miss Casey.
Yeah, you're not the only one. So Corey Feldman was famously in rehab at this point, so he didn't come back to voice Donatello. Judith Hoag didn't come back to play April O'Neil because she was actually very vocal and had issues with how the stunt workers were being treated in the first movie.
Oh.
The stunt people in the turtle costumes were getting injured and hurt and shit, and then the fucking studio would just literally like cart them off and not pay for their any kind of like injury or none of that shit. No fucking no union for them, nothing. They would cart them off and just fucking replace them like that. And she had hella issues with that shit because it wasn't a safe working environment.
Yeah.
So she was just, fuck this, I'm out. I'm not doing this. It's not that Paige Turco was a terrible April O'Neil. It's just, it's not fucking Judith Hoag, man.
Yeah, like, she wasn't bad. There were a couple of lines where I was like, I feel like the original would have done this better. But for the most part, it's also even hard to compare because it felt like two different Aprils.
Sure. I mean, and they're going to be played differently.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even written. Like,
yes.
I feel like this one was a much more like she's with the turtles and was bubbly about it and always laughing at their jokes. Whereas the original was more like the annoyed mother.
I kind of liked that version though.
Yeah.
Like, she loves them, but she's just like, God damn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she face palmed a lot.
Yeah. And you thought you were going to get this one whenever they first introduced April in the second one.
Right, because she's pissed off at all the stuff that they left around the apartment.
But then it's like immediately discarded, I guess.
Because she knows they're going to pimp slap the fuck out of her if she says anything.
fair enough. It's like,
bitch, we done told you to pick up after us.
yeah, she's sitting there like, man, I'm getting fucking sick and tired of these goddamn motherfuckers. What'd you say? Oh no, dude, tell me that one joke about the shredder falling. That was funny. Like I'm telling you, dude, she talked the most shit when they weren't around. That was not a one-time occurrence. It was just the only time we saw it.
She's like, whenever y'all aren't around, I'm going to fuck your father so I can give him a son that's not a disappointment.
God damn.
Swear to God.
Fuck.
So a point I was going to make earlier to get away from that completely, whenever I was talking about Kino like a few minutes ago, because we were talking about like all these characters, like what the fuck is Kino? You mentioned Casey Jones? That's your Casey Jones for this movie. They literally wrote Keno into this movie to replace Casey Jones because Casey Jones was too scary for children with the hockey mask and all that. Yep.
What about the cartoon?
No. No.
He wasn't in the 87
He was
cartoon?
barely in it. I mean, he was in
Really?
it. Yeah, I mean, he was in it, but like that mask was pretty goddamn intense in the first one.
It was, but like, bear in mind, again, like I said last week, I mean, my Ninja Turtles that I grew up with was 90s, early 2000s. So like, Casey was all over that shit.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean Casey Jones wasn't in it that much? It doesn't process.
I know it doesn't compute very well, does it? We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to tell you some other shit that doesn't compute and drop some more factoids on you about this fucking movie, you know, because there's plenty more where that came from. You're listening to the Super Media Bros on the OddPods Media Network. Go find us a pizza or something. Fuck it. I'm fucking hungry. You hungry?
Yeah.
Let's get a pizza real quick. Gentlemen, if you didn't already know, it's tax season here in the United States. And you know what that means? It means that Manscaped is here to make sure that your paperwork is done and your boys downstairs are having fun. What better way to invest your tax return than into yourself? Manscaped has the full package from head to toe to make sure that you get your money's worth this April. The Performance Package 4.0 is the ultimate bundle that you need to reinvent yourself and your confidence. In the package, the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is the star of this show, offering a precise shave on all your wildest edges. In even more exciting news, the Performance Package 4.0 now includes the brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. This bad boy's been totally revamped with a brand new and improved blade and motor. And dare I say, it's the best ear and nose hair trimmer ever. It's cordless, rechargeable, and has skin-safe technology that reduces nicks, snags, and tugs. After clearing your nose, make sure to get rid of that foul ball smell with the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, and the Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. And for all my guys out there with a little scruff, Manscaped now has beard products. Yeah, the whole package. The brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the head honcho, containing more than 9 products and wet goods. It's everything that you need to craft your signature look. The start of spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. So get 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping site-wide with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Don't just get your money back this year, get your swagger back too with Manscaped.
Hi, I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
And we host the Muck Podcast, where we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics.
Hey, Tina, did you know that Elvis crashed the Nixon White House for the sole purpose of getting a DEA badge? And it worked?
What? Or how a gun control advocate senator out of California engaged in gun trafficking with notorious gang leader Shrimp Boy?
Shrimp Boy, I remember him. Okay, so, we cover all of that and more from maladies, madness, mischief, and murder in U.S. politics.
And we also host a bi-weekly interview segment called Lil Muck.
We interview politicians, journalists, activists, and others who share their experiences in politics.
Find the Muck Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and check us out on social media at the Muck Podcast.
All right, so we're back and getting into the movie. And getting back into the movie, the Turtles devise a plan with Keno. Because, he eventually comes up to April's apartment and, figures out they're living there and all this other shit.
No. He barges in.
I was going to say.
He broke in.
He pretty much did, because he just, fucking knocked on her door. Miss O'Neill. And the Turtles are freaking out and trying to fucking hide. And she's like, yeah? He's like, hi. She's like, I didn't order any pizza. And he's just like, oh, I know. But the guy over at 313 did, and now he doesn't seem to be there. And I'm like, you did this on purpose. He just walks in. He's like, yeah, but I figured you always order so much, you could probably just use more. And he was just going to give her pizza. He wanted a fucking way into her apartment, like the little creep that he is.
I mean, can you blame him?
Yeah, no, but still, man, fuck all that shit. It's like fucking stomps Raph's foot, and then they come out, and I fucking love it because Raph is like, can I hurt him? Please. And I'm just like, can you hurt him? I would love that.
Yeah, I mean,
Keno was the most annoying little shit in this entire fucking movie. Now, I like Ernie Reyes Jr. Don't get me wrong. Dude was underneath the Donatello suit, fight coordinating, like all that shit. He's annoying as fuck in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of led Ralph to being
Who?
Raphael.
You keep calling him Ralph.
Yeah,
That's not his name.
it is to me.
Oh, God. Please don't call him Ralph.
Dude, I've always called him Ralph.
Oh, no.
Okay, to be fair, as a small child, I also used to call him Dark Vader.
I mean, that's better than Ralph.
I don't know. He's a little Ralphie.
Oh, my God. Red Ralph.
Yeah, like I
It's
was
fucking
I was
funny.
trying to correct myself, but
It's
my
funny as
tongue is
fuck.
like, no, you're saying Ralph, dude.
No,
You're not.
his name Ralph.
Yeah,
His name's Ralph when he puts the fucking trench coat and hat on. Because he
Oh,
can't
God.
fucking go by Ralph. He's like, no, my name Ralph.
I refuse to call him Raph. It's Ralph. Anyway,
Fucking goddamn it.
I don't know why, and it's my favorite turtle.
It's
I don't
fucking
know.
funny. That's funny to me, though.
Any fucking way. What was I even saying?
I don't know.
Either way, whatever the fuck his name is, he led to Ralph getting fucking bamboozled and caught up for the second goddamn time in these movies.
Yeah, because what happens is Kino, after being introduced to all of them by Splinter, he and Raphael decide, hey, so the Foot Clan, which they find out through Kino that the Foot Clan have been recruiting a bunch of teenagers and anybody with martial arts talent. He's like, hey, if I let myself get recruited, guess what that might lead us to? And Splinter's just like, fuck no. And then, Raph is just like, well, why not? And he's like, too dangerous. And they're just like, God damn it. So what do? They fucking do it anyway.
Something is not processing. The math is not mathing. Are you telling me that it's not like, if you were to spell Raphael, it's not Raphael?
Raphael. Raphael.
I always just thought that it was being said with an accent.
Mm-mm. No, it's literally Raph. It's literally the front half of his name.
I really just thought that it was their thick ass accents. Because I've never had to actually spell out his name before.
Yeah, no, not a chance. I mean, that's why they're even shortened. They literally shortened their names so that kids could pronounce them and spell them. Mikey, not Michelangelo. Donnie, or Don, not Donatello. Leo, not Leonardo. Raph, not Raphael. I'm surprised they didn't call him Splint. Did I fuck your head up?
Yes, because I've spelled out Ralph in regards to him, but I've never... Because anytime I would go to spell Raphael, my iPhone would tell me that that's not a name.
Bro.
So I was always like, well, I don't want to look like a dumbass and misspell a man's name, so I just said Ralph.
Oh, and you wound up looking like a dumbass anyway. I'm sorry.
I'm 26 and I'm just now discovering this.
It's okay, man.
Like, I was gonna no-sell it and be like, no, it's just Ralph to me, bro.
You couldn't fucking do it, though.
No, because my brain is fried now.
I told you I was going to fucking ruin it all for you.
Dude, what the fuck?
God, I'm sorry.
That was Ralph.
It's okay. So they go to this recruitment thing, and Raph helps Kino get in, and I think Kino winds up being the only fucking one that passes like these tests. Like, it's like blood sport in a small warehouse facility somewhere, and he has to pass the test where he gets all these literal bells and whistles off of this like mannequin or whatever in silence. He's like, one thing we work in concealment's make one noise and you fail and all this other shit. Bro, not even like 5 minutes after, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go get you, a fucking suit. Raphael fucking just pops his big green shelled ass out of nowhere and gets noticed by half the Foot Clan.
Gee, I wonder why.
He's like some sort of a big turtle in a trench coat.
I mean, if he legally changed his name to Ralph, I feel like it'd be less inconspicuous.
Yeah. I feel like we forgot to mention Shredder just kind of popping up out of the garbage.
Yeah.
Just nonchalant.
Was he in a coma?
You know, they never really specified how long between the first and second movie this was, but I feel like if it was weeks, how's he still breathing and all that shit, bro?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because judging by the amount of pizza, even if they order 2 pizzas a day, there were a lot of boxes there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It had to be like weeks.
Yeah, so it's like, how long were you there? And let alone breathing, it's like, my mans, are you hungry?
Right. And the reason I'm
How are
bringing...
you alive?
Right. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is because once, like, the Foot kick his ass again, because Raphael gets his ass beat by the Foot Clan again, but they didn't beat him to damn near death this time. Kino just runs away to go get the others. And he winds up seeing Shredder face to face, and he's like, fuck, you know, he's like, Shredder. It's like, it's the first time they're face to face since the first movie. Shredder just kind of rolled back into this junkyard, quote, fallback spot, and his face, you know, they made reference to it's like his face is all fucked up or whatever. And then he like grinds like sharp fucking spots into his helmet and all this other shit. And he fucking like puts that purple, the signature purple on.
Which I really did like.
Right, me too. But the voice modulation on him in this movie was unreal. And I will get to a very fucking specific spot here in a second. So they kidnap Raph or whatever. And then the other 3 turtles show up to the junkyard where he also has Jordan Perry because he's kidnapped him in this entire fiasco when they go to TGRI to find the Ooze or whatever the fuck. The Foot Clan had already, like this is earlier in the movie, the Foot Clan had gone and grabbed the last vial of that shit and got the fuck out of Dodge. So they're being lured to this fucking junkyard as a trap because the Foot Clan have grabbed a snapping turtle and a wolf, and they spewed some fucking mutagen on them and turned them into Toka and Razor. And we get a very fucking hilarious line later on after they reveal that they brought Splinter, because they get a trap sprung on them and they're almost like fucking shish kebabbed on all this weird metal shit. And Michelangelo, without missing a beat, didn't we see these guys on WrestleMania? And I love how much that line blew your little fucking mind.
Yeah, because I genuinely don't remember it as a kid.
And it's cracking me the fuck up because as soon as Toka and Razor come out and Michelangelo's like, didn't we see these guys on WrestleMania? My first thought was, it's Brock and Roman.
Yeah, we the ones though.
Yeah, that's right. Which one of them is Brock?
Which one's the dumb one?
That's okay. That's a good segue for this line that I was saving for this, for Shredder's voice modulation and what they are. So when they pop out of this fucking thing, this is where the logic of this movie just kind of flies out the window for me. Now, Shredder has had his ass beat by 4 turtles, right? He got his ass kicked technically by Splinter, like he fucked up and fell off this roof and whatever. But Shredder even makes a mention to Jordan Perry where he's just like, yeah, well, I need reinforcements. My Foot Clan failed. I failed. This time it's going to be freak against freak. So he removes the bar and the fucking doors come down and Tatsu runs his little ass off, just leaves. He's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Fucking Shredder is fully prepared to fight these 2 big motherfuckers. 2, not 4 turtles, 2 fuckers that are bigger, stronger, and probably a lot more deadly. And he thinks he can take them because he's like, when this is over, you're going to call me master. And they're just like, mama. Oh, mama. Like they're fucking babies. And he storms out of that fucking thing. And this man goes to have like a rage fit about them being babies. But he has the most ungodly amount of spit in his fucking throat when he does it because he's all like, babies. Damn babies. And then he's all like, oh. And I'm like, fuck, bro.
Just spit it out.
Remember that fucking throat spray that Casey was offering Tatsu in the first one? My brother in Christ. Shredder needs this too.
God.
So the turtles are ambushed by Toka and Razor. And it's kind of a bullshit junkyard fight. They kind of mow through the Foot Clan with some random shit, and they barely do escape though, because there is one point they kind of get tossed around a little bit, and Donatello just, my man, he goes to crack Toka with his fucking bow staff, and then he winds up just getting goddamn yeeted across the junkyard and through the fucking roof.
Yeah, I feel like in the first one that would have caused grave injuries.
You're 100% right.
Yeah, like in the first movie, they took shit like that way more serious.
Yeah, that just kind of proves the comic element because like Donatello gets yeeted really high in the air, really far through some like wood beams onto the floor. Could have gotten stabbed like through the rib cage or something. And all he said was, "Oh, that hurt."
Yeah.
What?
Like, I mean, I guess if you landed on your shell, maybe.
Yeah, like if it had cracked his shell, it would have fucked him up.
I mean, well, no, I was going with the mindset that maybe it was protection. But
true.
I guess it depends on how much logic we're using.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, they basically get the doctor out of there, the professor. Like he unties him, they escape through the sewer, and they go back. And now that they got him in their lair, they kind of question him about like the ooze and all this other shit. And Donatello's really having some big feelings about it and everything. And
boy's in pain.
Yeah, he's in pain. So Shredder just like, fuck it, we're going to release Toka and Razor into a neighborhood and like have damage. And basically that's going to be, we're going to lure them to come out of hiding and shit. Like if I do this, they have to come out and fight. But they're like, we have no real chance against it. And then having Jordan Perry there, he's just kind of like, well, I have, an idea on how to like reverse their mutation, but they need to ingest this fucking shit. And then Michelangelo, of all the turtles, has an idea to solidify. Well, Donatello has the solidification and ice cube tray idea for the stuff for them to ingest. But Michelangelo's like, let's hide this shit in donuts. Because who the fuck doesn't eat donuts? Do you know anybody, like, and I'm being dead serious, do you know anybody that, like, hates donuts? Have you ever met a soul in your entire existence that's like, if you offered them a donut, they're like, gross, donuts?
No, because I feel like donuts are so, like, you could do so much with them.
Right, and they're just like, it's like a universally loved snack and breakfast item and fucking junk food. It's a sugar fucking bread product.
Yeah, like,
it's a sugar fried bread product.
How do you fuck that up?
Well, they do in this. Like they fuck these donuts up pretty fucking good, but in a different way. So their idea is to go to this fucking warehouse and offer them donuts because they make up some bullshit where they're just like, hey, first we need to observe the ancient ritual of the pre-fight donuts.
Of all the fucking excuses that they could use to get these people to eat a goddamn donut.
Is that like a shitheel move in wrestling? Like, do you feel like this is like Ric Flair backing off and begging off in the corner? Is that the moment we're having here?
Yes.
Okay. So they feed them these fucking donuts, and then I think Razor crushes it and sees the cubes, and they're just like, fuck. And then they start getting their asses kind of handed to them. I mean, Michelangelo gets thrown through a fucking wall and knocks over this giant bay door, but he does get up with some sound effects that maybe birds are spinning around his head, not visually, but you can hear them. And he's just like, now I know what a postal package feels like. They're so goofy about when they get hurt. They're just like, oh, well, that hurt. Oh, that's what a postal package feels like. And unfortunately, this leads to the this is probably the most divisive final battle sequence I've ever witnessed in my life. And I get to drop some factoids before the end of this.
Here we fucking go.
So the movie obviously had a shitload of problems beyond having a rush production schedule and having a fucking decline in the box office. And this was in no small part thanks to the music department. The music department, no bullshit, legit hijacked the film's production because they wanted to secure the fucking Vanilla Ice cameo. They literally stopped production and made them fucking change shit about the script just so they could put this motherfucker in the movie.
What did Sir Vanilla Ice, our Lord and Savior, want this film? What was made different?
Exactly. Nothing.
What?
They basically just like, we're not going to do the Mouser plot. We're not going to do the alien plot. We need a final set piece. We need a dance number. We need a song to sell the soundtrack.
Did the first one have any of that?
fuck no, dude. And that's the thing. The first one had a good soundtrack. This soundtrack's all right, but fuck, bro. You go from like, oh, we could have like a really good like fight with like the 4 turtles versus these monsters. No, you just get them thrown into a fucking nightclub in the middle of public and people mistaking them for having costumes. Vanilla Ice's dumbass on stage singing fucking the ninja rap.
That's childhood. I will take no ninja rap slander.
Sure, but if you look at the context of what this movie should have been and was supposed to fucking be.
No, but I'm just saying I will allow no slander.
Right. Okay. So Toka and Razor start burping and it's fucking slowing down the process of the reverse mutation. So they figure out, oh, well, we need some carbon dioxide. Hey, we should shove these fire extinguishers down their throat and just spray the fuck out of them. So they do, and they do, and then they just stop fighting everybody to dance, knowing full well Shredder is somewhere. Still, they just stop to fucking dance, and they knock Tatsu out with the fucking quadruple shell shock thing, and they still keep fucking dancing. And then Shredder's like, man, fuck your party. I'm gonna like hold this bitch hostage and I'm gonna fucking pour mutagen all over every motherfucker. And I'm like, bro, you could have done all of that by now. While these fuckers were dancing, you could have just taken your entire plan and had it done. Shredder is stupid in this movie. They reverted him to that fucking moronic 87 cartoon series version where he's just a dumbass. Like, think about it.
Yeah, like, and it only got worse once he became Super Shredder because...
Oh, you mean Chet Lemon? You mean Dr. X? You mean the Great Oz?
Oh my God.
You mean Master Blaster Steel? You mean Vinny Vegas? You mean Big Shreddy Cool Diesel?
Bro, come on! God damn it.
My man's turned his back on the wolf pack when he fucking abandoned Razor.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's the first connection I've ever heard. Like, in that way. I'm a little disappointed in wrestling fans.
Yeah.
The joke is right there.
Mm-hmm. But that stings.
Was that another one?
Could have been. Yeah, thanks.
Too sweet.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. You're right.
Too sweet.
Yeah,
Too sweet.
Oh, yeah. So, how do they defeat Shredder this time? I'm talking like with
Mans is just kind of dumb.
Yeah, I think it's funny that he's like, oh, I'm gonna take this mutagen and I'm just gonna fuck shit up. And then Kino just runs in and ninja kicks it out of his hands, and then Michelangelo and Donatello find the volume button and a fucking keytar. And Mikey just slams all the keys and they crank it up so hard that one of the speakers like gets zoomed in on, it explodes and blows the Shredder out of a window.
Which that alone, let's be honest, that's kind of stupid even for a cartoon.
It was just
that was kind of stupid. And also what's kind of stupid is for the second time in these movies, the Turtles don't beat Shredder.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of the Shredder slips on a banana peel and then he fucking does it again.
Yeah, because like, except this time Splinter didn't defeat him either.
No.
He just was too dumb and just decided to kill us all.
Yeah, he drank all of the mutagen, like the vial or whatever that he had, because he had an extra vial on it. He drank all of it. It's funny to me because, see, he drinks it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does drinking anything have to do with your fucking costume?
It makes the costume change so the toys could be sold.
Okay, but there was supposed to be a fucking alien plot.
Toys
Think about
sold.
it. I don't care. I don't fucking care, because if it was a
Your
goddamn...
living room says otherwise, sir. You have 1 million toys in there.
I do, but if it was the fucking alien plot like it was supposed to, then it could have been like, oh, if you pour it on him, it's gonna fucking have some kind of like... If you play the Turtles in Time arcade game or the video game on the Super Nintendo, he takes it and it actually like transforms all of him.
I think I played the arcade game to Turtles in Time. I'm not sure.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
But I'm saying I'm super young. I don't remember,
I'm
but that
just-
sounds sick.
I'm just kind of cracking up because it's like, did Shredder like know he was gonna do this? And he's like, man, I built this entire suit. Like,
Bruh.
he just had it kind of tucked away in the boating dock area.
He already had it measured out. He was like, I know exactly how big I'm going to get.
That's it.
I feel like we're over dissecting a movie about a bunch of mutated talking turtles that do kung fu, but
Oroku Sake Mania is running wild, and it's ninjutsu, sir.
either way, I'm just saying, like, we're over analyzing all of this, but also it's like, the first one at least knew when to draw back.
Bro, they cranked this to 11 for some fucking reason.
As a child, I fucking loved it for that. As an adult, I'm like, okay, I guess.
Like, why did they do this? Why did they do any of this? You want to know something else fucked up? You know the sequence whenever their shells are popping up in the water? Like, whenever
Yeah.
they dive? Because Shredder, like, destroys this docking area. And Leonardo's just like, you got to listen to reason. You're going to kill us all. And he's like, so be it. And he fucking, like, crushes himself under the weight of all this stuff. And it does kill him finally. But when they're popping up in the water, that is actually a piece of footage that was used from the first film's like trailer or like a teaser. And they just stuck it in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I feel like I've seen that trailer, and I never connected that.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so the turtles go back to their subway lair that they found halfway through the film that it doesn't matter anymore. It just, the whole time they were so butthurt about not finding out that they were, special because this was just some random fucking ooze. And it's like, okay, well, we killed the Shredder. Professor ran off with the giant vial of ooze. He left us a note that April O'Neil is going to read on the broadcast station, and we're just going to be happy now. Like, they're not going to, the alien subplot doesn't exist, so they don't have to investigate it any further. And, they party it up. They come home, and Splinter is watching the news and hearing about all this shit that happened very publicly, and he's just, idiots. He calls his own sons idiots.
Well, I mean,
He kind of wasn't wrong about that one on this one. And the movie ends with him making them all do flips, and I made another funny. And then that's the secret of the ooze. So, like, Kevin Nash Super Shredder, and no real secret of the ooze. It was more of like the letdown of the ooze, honestly.
yeah, looking back now, I'm not entirely sure why I liked this one more as a kid.
It was appealing to a younger child, honestly. Like,
I
we
guess,
we
but
both watched this movie for the first time, we were in the age demographic it was
it's
targeting.
true, but I'm looking at it now. I'm like, okay, but what part of this did I like more than the original? I don't know.
Right. If you really dig deep and overanalyze like we're fucking doing, oof. If you take it for what it is at surface value, it's a fun Turtles movie. It's not the best one, but it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, no, I certainly did not hate this movie.
Right.
And I didn't even dislike it. Like, just thought the first one was far better.
Come back next week when we talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, aka Turtles in Time. I will be completely honest with you. It's been a very long time since I've watched that one. So this is going to be a very interesting rewatch for me.
Mm-hmm.
The Turtles wind up in feudal Japan.
That's fire.
Yeah, like on paper, I'm saying this now, like on paper, this movie should kick ass. However, it does not. And we will tell you every reason why when we come back for that episode. So visit supermediabrospodcast.com for past, present, and future episodes. Check out all the other shows on the OddPods Media Network by visiting oddpodsmedia.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Buy a t-shirt from our merch shop. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, GoodPods, and Podchaser. And yeah, once again, just come hang out with us next week, and we'll round this whole fucking trilogy out with opening wide the gates of time, as they say in that movie. Yeah, like Casey Jones is at least back, but but for what fucking reason?
to give us Casey Jones.
We really don't get Casey Jones. We get Elias Koteas phoning it in. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us this week. This has been episode 272, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Until we come back for part 3, I'm Richie.
I'm Devin.
Shades on.
We're off.